Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're just landing here. I am Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. And oh, what a weekend we have had around Iran, right? The so-called, the negotiations, watching JD be absolutely snubbed and embarrassed. I guess many of you saw that, where, the Iran delegation came in after left the U.S. waiting. They got there first. Apparently, in political protocol, that was a big no. You're supposed to walk in, keep your opposition waiting for you to enter the room. JD, of course, didn't do any of that. The Pakistani leadership was, it was sort of a replay, you all, of what Trump went through at the G7 summit, right? Where we saw all the images of other leaders, G7 leaders gathered around in conversation. And then, Trump left off to the side like nobody wanted to deal with him. It was very much the same situation going on with JD. But now today, of course, we're seeing, oh no, progress is being made. Iran is agreeing to having some oversight of its nuclear capabilities. Here's a couple of things that I want to look at that Spirit is telling me, you all keep your eye out. This thing is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Why? Number one, we know that JD, I've read on it before, don't need to do it today. JD is being set up, right? He's gonna carry the mantle of this Iran situation, and it ain't gonna go right because Israel is not gonna do what it needs to do to keep the peace, right? Israel not even a part of the talks, doesn't want to be a part of the talks. Bibi going full on trying to remain in power in Israel. So JD is stepping into it and not gonna come out well from that, and Trump is gonna leave him stuck with the so-called why it all didn't work out. JD didn't do his part, but also, who else is still in the room? Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. So none of this is real. I'm just getting from Spirit, you all, and I'm sure many of you will agree. This is all smoke and mirrors. But here's the reality that I do want to look at is the allies. There are 51 plus, if my research is correct, there are 51 plus U.S. bases through U.S. allies. These bases they would be essential if Trump's promise, either you play nice or we're going to go back to coming in full hog and we're just going to take over your country, blah, blah, blah. But they can't do that without the assistance of allies. And we even saw that happen in recent months when the war was, more active, where bases were saying, you can't come here. Number one, we don't want to get dragged into it. Number two, we don't want to be targeted by Iran's missiles, so you're gonna have to figure something else out. That's the first thing I want to take a look at, you all. Is I read an interesting article in the New York Times, an opinion piece by Linda Kistler, was released on Friday, June 19th, essentially calling it superpower suicide. Right, the U.S. superpower suicide. That allies are saying, we ain't doing this with you. I want to take a look at that. Spirit. Will U.S. allies refuse to cooperate should the U.S. continue and go through on threats that now Trump is making? I have the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Deception. Smoke and mirrors, you all. Smoke and mirrors. Make sure. And I got the Fool. I always pay, if you are with me on the channel, I always pay attention when major arcana come. And sure enough, we got the Fool at the bottom of the deck. This is foolhardy, and this is also what at this point Spirit is saying can't be reversed, which is a different relationship between the U.S. and its allies, at least as long as this administration remains in place. Spirit, will allies refuse to allow U.S. operations on their bases to continue this war? The Lovers. The damage done to these relationships with our allies. Will they refuse? Will they step in the gap and refuse? Queen of Cups, I think that might be Maloney out of Italy. Woo, has she brought the fire, right? She may be small in stature, but Maloney is just like, dude, dude, ain't begging you, never have, never will. And I also saw that, I haven't been able to substantiate it, but I saw that Italy and Spain, we know that the head of Spain, what's his name? Pedro Sanchez, no friend to Trump, that both of them have said they will peel back, if they haven't already done so, arms sales of arms to Israel, right? They're like, not doing that anymore. So I've seen Maloney step up with the Five of Wands. She's ready to sort of lead the fight as an ally. And the Six of Wands, gaining momentum and influence. A lot of people backed Maloney when they saw the exchange between she and Trump. Like, you go, girl. The Ten of Cups, that's the allies coming together. The Seven of Wands, fighting off Trump's bullying, and the Magician. Trump is so sunk in this whole endeavor, and he knows it on some level, but it's all a game that they're playing, and especially leading up to the midterms, the elections, to try and show one thing, we got this, but it's not happening, and it won't happen because, number one, two things, two prongs. We know that Israel is not going to comply. BB is not going to stop his agenda. And now we're also seeing that U.S. allies will not allow those bases to be used if Trump decides to move forward with some sort of amped up attacks again, as he's now promising again, if Iran does not play nice. Now, I want to take a look and see, will there be an agreement that holds? We had the Strait, J.D. Vance coming out saying, the Strait is open. The Strait of Hormuz is open. We're all good. That's progress. Take a look. We're winning. And then at the minute he said that, we find out that, in fact, Iran had at least temporarily closed the Strait of Hormuz again. It's just, it never ends. Spirit, will there be an official agreement? When Vance leaves out of there, will he walk away with an agreement in place? Will Vance walk away from these negotiations with an agreement in place? Will Vance walk away, J.D. Vance, and will he walk away with an agreement in place? There's the Fool again. Okay. Over a cliff, selling a story that isn't real, you all. And remember, the Fool is ruled by Uranus. Quick changes, don't see it coming, unexpected changes. Spirit, show me more, please. The Two of Cups, pretending that there's an agreement, but there's the Devil. I think that what Spirit is showing us, you all, is it's very possible that Vance and company are going to come away from this powwow, this summit, with some form, Two of Cups, some form of an agreement. But the devil is in the details. And the fact that Iran is very aware of that part of, from the U.S. side, it's the only way we can move forward is if you have allowed us to have oversight over your nuclear capabilities. But on Iran's side, it's okay, but you got to get Israel got to get a grip over what's happening in Tehran. And that's the devil. That's not happening. And there's the world. They want to bring it to a completion, but it did come reversed. I don't always read reverse, but in this instance, I'm getting that energy where it's a slowdown of the ability to bring this really to an end, because Nine of Pentacles, Iran is going to make this very contingent on them getting that 300 billion. Who's supposed to be paying it, right? Arab states, Middle Eastern states that have already been punished as a result of all of this. So now they're going to pay Iran to stay off their backs. But that's what this administration is putting forward. Is that real, right? Spirit. Is this going to go on to the midterms? That's really where I'm seeing it go. Is this going to continue to the midterms? This war with Iran, the back and forth, the lovers. I want more. Why are you showing me the lover's spirit? And an ace. It is. It's going to continue. Because it does a couple of things. It keeps things destabilized so that I almost hate to ask this, but I'm going to, because this is what I'm getting. If things are in such disarray that they can claim, the administration can claim some form of election interference, perhaps through Iran or through some foreign adversary. Is that the goal? Six of Swords and the Hierophant. There's some aspect of that, y'all. I'm not seeing it as a slam dunk, like that's it literally, but Hierophant government, Six of Swords, how do we go forward to create doubt and dissension, and to get the U.S. to buy into it, that election interference, that perhaps a delay of elections or results having been tampered with through international interference, keeping in mind as well, Spirit is reminding me, all of this delay in confirming Clayton, Jay Clayton, I think is his name, as head of national intelligence, and instead it keeping Bill Pulte in place for the time being, who has what experience and what business in that post right now. And there's the Wheel of Fortune confirming it. Thank you, Spirit. This is a gamble by this administration. They want to continue to have this situation with Iran remain destabilized, and that is also why they understand and know they're not going to tame Bibi Netanyahu. They're not going to bring him in, and get him to agree to the terms that would be necessary to keep the peace. So you all, this is really going to heighten. Is this going to lead to? This was my second question, and I'm feeling a connection here. Jim Acosta, many of you know and respect and admire him as an incredible journalist who was messed up and let go with CNN, right? When everything started going down with CNN. Jim Acosta was on a podcast, I think last week. I forget which one. Sorry about that. But he said he's predicting. So this ain't even like a psychic on the platform. All the psychics trying to figure out when is Trump going to be gone. But Jim Acosta came out and said, based on what is happening and how things are evolving, combined with Trump's actual physical decline, he's seeing that by November or after November, after the midterms, when Dems clearly should take over, that Trump is either going to resign, I don't know about that, that he will resign, or that something will happen where he will have some viable excuse to step down. He knows he's a sitting duck. He's been saying, if the Dems take over the House, here comes another impeachment. Can't let that happen. Spirit, will we see the end of Trump in the Oval by November or around November? Either through physical circumstances, health, or, as Jim Acosta is alluding to, politically. Will he be gone by November? We have the Knight of Wands, Hanged Man, hanging around, but momentum in that direction. Will he throw up his hands? Will Trump throw up his hands and find some way to run if he can't hide after the November elections? The Two of Wands, he's already looking for his exit. Maybe that's why the Qatari plane had to hurry up and get going, right? Get on that plane and go somewhere. And Death. Now, could be literal, but an ending or a transition of some sort. And ruled by Scorpio. Scorpio comes when? November. And the Queen of Wands, and the High Priestess. This is Susie. And Susie has said she's out by the midterms, if not sooner, right? We know she's got a health issue. But we also know that she's more than fed up, and she more perhaps more than most people is extremely aware of Trump's decline, mental, physical, otherwise. She knows. High Priestess, though, she's trying to play the game and keep it secret. Three of Pentacles, she's trying to work with whoever next would be in line, and I'm getting that that's Rubio, because we know they're setting Vance up. Is Susie trying to plan for Trump leaving, and will she be the one to influence him to get out of there? Will Susie be the one to influence him to get out of there? Temperance comes, you all. She won't be alone. She won't be alone. And she's going to try and convince Trump that if by somehow stepping away, coming up with an excuse to get out of there, that's not really him losing power, because she knows how to work his ego. This is an energy around moderation, around working things out, around coming up with a solution, alchemizing something. Don't like it, but here's a solution to it. That's what she's doing. She's going to lean in on Trump to get out of there. And there's the Nine of Wands, Nine of Swords, because he's going to be completely paranoid and freaked out about another impeachment once the House turns over. And there's the Five of Cups. Lost, alone. Susie's gonna capitalize on him. She knows him inside and out. She knows all of his triggers. She knows his pulse points. So he's going to feel so alone, bereft. And so therefore, I think that's why we saw death. One way or another, he's out. There's the Three of Wands. It may take a little while, and the Emperor. We're definitely looking at him getting out of there, you all. Three of Wands, though, feels like it could, like, where does he go from there? The plan's being put in place to where he can essentially escape. Is he going to try and go into exile? Is he going to leave the country and go into exile? Eight of Wands. Quick, hurry, get out of here. So is that the unexpected event that Jim Acosta was alluding to? He will flee. Will Trump flee the country? Queen of Pentacles. And the Ace of Wands, y'all. Woo. That's interesting. I don't know if that's Melania. If Melania may even be the one saying, we're going to have to get up out of here. But there he is. Really, really interesting stuff, you all. Really interesting stuff. All right. Last thing I wanted to look at today. I think, doesn't SCOTUS end at they close out their term for the year, end of the month. We're right there. End of June, early July. And a big decision that is incredibly important that we're waiting to come out of SCOTUS is on birthright citizenship. So let's take a look at that. Spirit. Will SCOTUS. I feel like I need to cleanse the deck a little bit. Okay. Will SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, will they protect? Will their decision protect birthright citizenship? Will that remain? Will they go against Trump and protect birthright citizenship? Will birthright citizenship be protected in this country? The King of Swords, that's Roberts or someone else on the court. Will birthright citizenship be protected? Oh, Four of Wands. That's a really positive commitment, celebration. Maybe so. And the Ace of Wands. Spirit didn't, thank you, Spirit, that we didn't even have to work hard for it. I think SCOTUS is going to uphold birthright citizenship, you all. At least the way the energy is presenting itself today. Eight of Wands. So quickly, because remember again, the Supreme Court session is ending, so we may even hear it this week. And the King of Cups, that's going to be somebody who writes the decision between the King of Swords and the King of Cups. These are justices, conservative justices on the court. One of them is Roberts, but it may not be Roberts who writes the opinion. This King of Cups could be somebody else, perhaps even Kavanaugh, I'm feeling. And the Emperor. He's going to be so upset. The Seven of Cups, he's going to be like, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? And the Eight of Cups coming right behind it. He is going to be done and outdone and really turning his back on the court for not once again giving him his way, as they have so many times. So bottom line, you all, I think based on how the energy came today, pretty quickly and pretty strongly, I do think let us pray, let us pray, let us pray. I do think birthright citizenship is going to hold through the Supreme Court. And it'll be interesting to see if it's Kavanaugh who actually writes the opinion or who writes that opinion. But that's how it's looking. All right, you all, have a good one. Remember, chins up. Some of us are still riding high on so much positive energy that we've seen come out of areas of the country. We've got a lot. I'm not going to look at it today, but there's some stuff going on with Gavin Newsom and Hunter Biden, I'm understanding, right? Hunter Biden has been on fire on social media, like middle finger to everybody. And like not even like I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say right now. But Hunter Biden, apparently Gavin Newsom had Hunter Biden featured on his podcast recently, on Newsom's podcast. And so, we know Newsom is going for 2,800%. So is he? We heard he's been, courting the Bidens in general, and to the extent that Hunter represents a very different voice and energy right now from his father, Joe Biden. Is that something that's gonna develop? There's also been some, would there be a Biden Newsom ticket? No. but to the extent that Newsom is trying to be a little cagey and capitalize off of Hunter's outspokenness recently, that's going to be interesting to see. So all that to say, more reasons for chin up, shoulders back, staying in your heart, right? Breathe. Always sky above us and the earth beneath us, holding us steady. All right, I'll talk to you a little bit later. Take care. Bye.